You've eaten Gotham's wealth, its spirit, but your feast is nearly over. From this moment on, none of you are safe.
In today's video, we're going to be talking about what made Batman Year One not only the best Batman origin movie, but what made it the best Gotham City origin movie. I love how this movie does such a good job of showing just how crime-ridden Gotham City is. I'm not just talking about the more than occasional muggings that Gotham City is so famous for. We're immediately shown the corruption of this city's cops. They're completely careless and abuse their power to their full extent. We're immediately shown the GCPD taking liberties with citizens, attacking them and dismissing the truth in favor of covering their own mistakes for their self-benefits. In this city, having a badge is a ticket to do whatever you want. We see Detective Flash use force in situations that were not necessary, and even force alone would be excessive. We're shown the recklessness and carefree shoot first and don't bother asking questions later mentality that these officers have.
What if he does? One less mouth to feed at the soup kitchen.
We are launched into a crime-ridden city, and we're instantaneously shown just how deep the corruption goes. When it comes to Commissioner Loeb, it's not just a matter of ignoring, it's a matter of enforcing this type of unethical behavior. The men on the most wanted list aren't that hard to find for the Commissioner or the GCPD, because the Commissioner is sitting right across from them. There's a special seat at Falcone's dinner table just waiting for the Commissioner. It's very clear that the system is rigged, and those not getting away with crimes are the ones who cannot afford to. Jim Gordon is the only cop who is truly following the law, whereas all the rest are about as crooked as the Eiffel Tower. We also see how they go about handling other officers who aren't compliant with their agenda, as they group together and viciously assault Gordon on his way to work. That's their own brother in blue. That is the man they share a cubicle with. Imagine what they would do to a common street thug. They also set out to kill Batman before ever trying to arrest him. Not because he's a supposed violent criminal or a vigilante, but because he's doing the job the GCPD should be doing. The real difference between Batman and the police is that Batman wants justice while the GCPD want power. He is enemy number one for one reason and one reason alone, and that's because Batman does what's right for the people while the police do what's right for themselves. We're shown just how miserable Gotham City is in ways I don't think we've ever quite seen before, but maybe one other time, in the show Gotham. The show Gotham is about a young Jim Gordon rising to the top of the ranks to become commissioner. I actually loved this show because it was a precursor to that of The Dark Knight's Arrival. But enough about Gotham and back to Batman Year One. I love how we get to see Batman struggle against three ordinary thugs, whereas by the time he joins the Justice League, he has a contingency plan for every member, including himself, for if any member ever turned rogue and turned to the dark side. In this movie, we get to see him mess up, we get to see him fail, we get to see glimpses of the Batman we all know, but he's not quite there yet, and I think because of that, us as the viewer, we are a little bit more on edge whenever we see him in danger, because we know he doesn't have them contingency plans yet. In this movie, he's not Batman just yet. He's a man trying to find his true identity. In this movie, he's much more man than Batman. Batman Year One shows us a different side of our favorite characters. It gives us a more vulnerable Bruce Wayne who is so desperate to find a path. It shows us that, yeah, Batman may be a good guy, but maybe he's not the perfect pitch of sanity. He's a broken man who wants to find something to believe in. I really like that Jim and his partner Sarah actually suspect Bruce as being Batman, and they have many reasons to. So you're telling me Bruce Wayne returns to Gotham after being gone for years, and 2 weeks after he returns, this Batman starts coming around and takes a bite at a crime? They note that he has the motive to do it due to his parents' murder, and he has the money to do it. Of course, by the time Jim goes to question Bruce, he has an alibi and is putting on one hell of a show, but to Jim's credit, he's not necessarily buying it. He doesn't rule out that Bruce Wayne could be a shallow, woman-crazy, snotty billionaire, but he doesn't immediately check him off as being that. He even notes that this could just be a persona. The movie follows Bruce and Gordon both looking for justice, and it's nice to see that their paths finally cross and align, up just a few minutes before the credits roll. A maskless Bruce Wayne manages to save the life of Jim Gordon's newborn baby. And Jim Gordon, this cop who believes in a code and ethics, and doing everything by the book, doesn't turn Bruce in. He turned a blind eye to his true identity. And I really feel like it leaves this movie with a solid foundation for a working partnership that would later turn into a friendship between Bruce and Gordon. But let me know in the comments if you guys think Batman Year One truly had the best Batman origin. And as always, feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. In today's video, we're going to be talking about what made Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker such a good film. The Batman Beyond universe takes place in the future, where the original Batman, aka Bruce Wayne, is retired. He ends up passing the mantle to a young Terry McGinnis. Funny enough, actually ends up being Bruce Wayne's biological son. But that's a topic for another video. In the show Batman Beyond, we're shown some of the new Batman's rogues gallery, including the likes of Ink, Shriek, and Yukare. But one thing the show was always missing was the Joker. There was a gang started called the Jokers following his death, but they were just a bunch of teenagers. They didn't have the same impact the original Joker did. Now, I did say the Joker was dead, and that statement still reigns true, kind of. So it turns out one night, while Tim Drake, aka the Third Robin, was on patrol, he was kidnapped by Harley Quinn and the Joker. They then pursue to beat and torture Robin, and by the time Batman is finally able to find him, his mind is already broken from the psychological trauma and was turned into a mini version of the Joker. Luckily, just before Tim was about to shoot Batman, he was able to muster the strength to turn the gun on Joker, thus killing the Clown Prince of Crime. However, before Joker's death, he was able to plant a chip inside Tim Drake's head, allowing him to take over his mind and body. I felt like this was the perfect way to bring back the Joker. If I had to point out one flaw I didn't like about Batman Beyond, it was, in the show, they did a piss-poor job of establishing and creating threats for the main character, which is a shame because the show actually established an interesting and likable lead. And honestly, Terry's the only other Batman I enjoy seeing besides Bruce. Let me go down the list for you. I don't like Damian Wayne because he doesn't fit or even deserve the role of Batman. I don't like Dick Grayson becoming Batman because he's already made a legacy as Nightwing, and at this point, it just seems like he's going backwards. And Tim Drake, I don't know. He just feels a little bit too bland to be the Dark Knight for me. But Terry was the perfect next generation Batman, and that's because he wasn't just the second coming of Bruce Wayne. He's not just Batman, but with a new secret identity. He's doing things completely different. He handles himself in a completely different manner than Bruce ever did. He's intelligent like the Bat who came before him, but he has an entirely different strategy than the Caped Crusader. His wit and sarcasm is much different from Bruce's stoicism. Terry can walk the walk, and also talk the talk, and in the end, that's how he manages to defeat the Joker. He beats the Joker by out-talking him. He gets inside the Joker's head.
Show yourself! You make me laugh. But only because I think you're kind of pathetic. Stop that!
And if you would have told me some new kid would wear the Batsuit and manage to manipulate the Joker by beating him at his own game, I wouldn't have believed you. Except here in execution, it works very well. The Joker's anger and obsession with the original Batman has never died down. I don't believe Joker would have ever seeked out such a life of crime and madness if it hadn't been for Batman accidentally creating him. He was in a lot of ways his muse, so here his whole plan is to get back at Bruce. He doesn't have any gripes with the new Batman outside the fact he's not the old Batman. He's just trying to use Terry as a pawn to get inside Bruce's head, just as he did with Tim Pryor, and just like he did with Jason and the comics before this. But all the while, he doesn't understand that he's not dealing with the sidekick. He's dealing with a whole new Batman, and one that he's not so familiar with. If this was a copy and paste second coming of Bruce Wayne, the Joker probably would have had a better shot of his plan. But he fails miserably because his calculations are way off. Sure, like the Robin who came before him, Terry was taught under Bruce, but he didn't always follow Bruce's protocol. He took some of what he learned from Batman and combined it with some of the stuff he already knew, all the while applying his own personality to the mantle throughout his fight. The Joker gets more and more aggressive, declaring Batman wouldn't do this or Batman wouldn't do that, but he would, because Terry's now Batman. The Batman the Joker knew is not the Batman he's fighting today. Case in point, Terry fights dirty and uses underhanded methods to get the upper hand.
What are you doing?
Fighting dirty.
The real Batman would never...
And unlike Bruce, who didn't have the time of day and wouldn't entertain Joker's awful jokes, Terry not only indulges him, he also clowns on the clown himself.
So you fell in a tank of acid, got your skin bleached, then decided to become a supervillain. What? You couldn't get work as a rodeo clown?
He manages to get under the Joker's chemical-induced pale skin, like no one ever has. And when Joker's given a taste of his own medicine, as it turns out, it's kinda sour. And just when Joker thinks he's finally got Batman, he accidentally lets his guard down, allowing Terry to use Joker's own joy buzzer on him, destroying the chip inside Tim Drake's brain.
Laugh it up now, miserable little punk. Laugh! I can't hear you!
Terry exits the building with Tim Drake still intact. Tim is finally properly introduced to Terry by Barbara from his hospital bed, and they're visited by Bruce. It's a happy-ish ending to a group of people who truly deserve it.
I've been thinking about something you once told me, and you were wrong. It's not Batman that makes you worthwhile. It's the other way around.
The reason why I love this movie is because the Batman Beyond series was Terry learning how to be Batman. This movie showcases Terry as Batman. While he certainly doesn't take the title of the best Batman, he is at least a worthy number 2, and one day he'll hang up his in a case next to Bruce's. I'm Hollow Power, and that was Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker. I want to thank you all for watching it again, and if you enjoyed, feel free to like the video and subscribe.